Welcome to Crystals with Prudence. Please, like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspiring episodes.
I'm leaving for work, Kevin said, picking up his already packed briefcase. But I thought today is a holiday, and we plan to spend it with the kids as family day. Ruby, Kevin's wife replied. I've got some work that needs to be finished before Friday, and so I have to go, Kevin said facing the door of their room. But you promised to spend the next holiday with the kids and me, Ruby replied teary-eyed. Kevin, you're hardly ever at home, the kids need their father and I need my husband. You have been too busy lately to spend time with your family, added Ruby holding back tears. Kevin and Ruby were college sweethearts, and everyone felt they were the perfect couple when they got married. In the early stages of their marriage, Kevin was a junior manager at his workplace and so could make time for his family, but ever since his promotion to the senior manager position, he has been very absent from home, his kids barely ever getting to spend time with him. Ruby, fees and bills need to be paid, food needs to be provided, and everything comes from the work I do. Sitting at home wouldn't put food on the table, you know, Kevin said, trying to keep calm, because he felt he was running late behind his schedule. Alright, then at least, have your breakfast. You haven't had any in the past 3 days, Ruby said, regaining her composure. Oh, no, I can't, I'm running late. With this, Kevin gave his wife a kiss on the forehead and headed for the door. Their marriage used to be the talk of people at church and the neighbors. The lovey-dovey couple was what they were known as. People envied their union and singles wished so much to be like them. Their love for each other was palpable, but after Kevin's promotion, which coincided with Ruby's birth of their second child, things haven't been the same. Kevin became more absent at home, barely spent even the weekends with his stay-at-home wife and kids, which took a toll on their marriage. Oh God, what is happening to my home? You brought us together. This home is built on your word and promises. We began this family with you. What is happening to my husband? I feel like a stranger to him lately. We barely talk to each other and seem almost like co-tenants. I don't want my marriage to continue like this. I want the Kevin I married back. Ruby prayed as Kevin drove out of the parking lot of their home. Leaning against the wall and pondering over what her home has become, tears streamed down her face. Certainly, all isn't well. I must go and see Pastor Mildred today. I need some advice. Am I doing something wrong? Is my cooking bad now? Am I no longer beautiful to my husband? Ruby asked herself, sliding her back down against the wall, face in her palms, bawling her eyes out in tears. It was only when she heard her 4-year-old Karen, who seemed to have just woken up and was in search of her mum, saying, "Mama, where's Daddy?" that Ruby came back to herself. "Oh sweetie, you're awake. Come, let's get you something to eat," Ruby said, taking Karen by the hand and leading her to the kitchen. "Mum, where is Daddy?" Karen asked again. Ruby, holding back tears, said, "Sweetie, Daddy's gone to work, he'd be back soon, alright." As soon as Karen heard this, she lost it, threw herself to the ground and began yelling and crying, "I want Daddy, he promised to take us out today." "Karen," Ruby said calmly, "Daddy will be back, he'd still take us out, okay?" Just then, the cry of their 3-month-old baby was heard from the bedroom. Ruby, already drained from insufficient sleep the night before, lost it. She sat on the ground and began to weep. Why? Oh God, I can't take this. My husband doesn't seem to love or care for me anymore, and these gifts you've given me are gradually taking away my sanity. Karen, who has never seen her mother cry before, was startled. She stopped yelling and immediately walked over to her mum. Holding her arm in one hand, the other on her shoulder, Karen bent over to look into her mum's face. "Mum, please, don't cry. I won't cry anymore. Please, don't cry, please." This melted Ruby's heart. She pulled her daughter in for a hug which soothed her longing heart. It felt like a hug from God, telling her that everything would be all right. "Let's go attend to little brother and then get something for you to eat, all right?" Ruby said, getting up from the floor. Hand in hand, they walked back to the room to feed the awakened baby. "Good afternoon, Pastor Mildred." Ruby greeted Pastor Mildred, the wife of her pastor. "Good afternoon, my daughter. How are you and everyone else doing? And our baby Jonah?" Pastor Mildred replied, "We're all doing good, said Ruby. What brings you here, my daughter?" Pastor Mildred asked after getting Ruby some water to drink. Ma, something is happening to my home. It might look like I'm overreacting, but I know I'm not always like this, and it has nothing to do with my hormones either. I just feel something is going to take my husband away from me. It feels like there are subtle attempts made to take him away from me which he isn't sensitive to. I feel it in my spirit, but I just can't figure out what. Ma, I don't know what to do. I feel helpless, Ruby said, getting emotional. Ruby, what have you done about it, ever since you began to feel this way? Pastor Mildred asked. Ma, I have prayed, but I just feel as though I've been pushed into a corner and held tight and there's nothing I can do to free myself, Ruby replied. Ruby, when you got married and took those sacred vows that day to be his wife, you became spiritually united with him. Where he is insensitive, your sensitivity must be sharp, and I thank God you have discerned this in time and understood that something is going on that needs to be stopped. How often do you fast with your husband? Ma, we haven't had a family fast in about a year now. He keeps saying I should go ahead, he'd fast on his own at his own time, when he's ready, Ruby said. Pastor Mildred sighed. You know what, Ruby, we're going to go on a 3-day fast together. I'd go fully, but you can break any time during the day that you can, don't drag yourself too far. You know you're breastfeeding, and after the fast, we'll meet here to pray for your marriage. Alright, I will, Ruby said. I'll take my leave now, got to prepare supper before my husband gets back from work, she added. Alright, Pastor Mildred said. Go in peace, my child, it shall be well, amen, Ruby said affirmatively. Back at home, Karen asked, Mummy, when's Daddy coming home? I want to see him before going to bed tonight. Ruby, equally having no idea what was keeping her husband so late, replied, Sweetie, Daddy will be home soon. An hour after Ruby had tugged Karen in bed, she heard her husband drive in. She walked hurriedly to give him a welcome hug, her arms spread open and ready to be hugged. Unexpectedly, Kevin handed her his briefcase and walked past her into the house. Ruby felt a stabbing pain in her chest. She wanted to stand right there and allow the late-night dew fall on her till dawn arrived, but she shoved away the thought and followed her husband inside. Welcome, sweetheart, Ruby said, taking off his coat. Your supper's cold, I'll heat it up for you shortly. Karen has been waiting for you all day, Ruby said. What did you tell her when I was gone? Kevin asked, as if oblivious of the prior welcome statement. Oh, I told her you'd be back soon, but she kept asking and waited an hour later than her usual sleep time to see you before going to bed. Ruby, why did you say that? You know I wouldn't be back early. Now you hurt her little heart, Kevin yelled. Ruby was taken aback. In all their 5 years of marriage, Kevin had never yelled at her before. What is happening? What has happened to her husband? Who or what is behind the change?